الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى خصوصا على أفضلهم وخاتم النبيين محمد الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى كما ورد في سورة النساء: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. They are at the same level as those Bedouins of the days of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, about whom Allah said, قالت الأعراب آمنا قل لم تؤمنوا ولكن قولوا أسلمنا ولما يدخل الإيمان في قلوبكم وإن تطيعوا الله ورسوله لا يلدكم من أعمالكم شيئا إن الله غفور رحيم. Allah is Ghafoor and He is Rahim. He is forgiving, the forgiving and the merciful. It's out of His forgiveness and His mercy that He accepts your Islam without Iman also. But if you continue obeying, but there is a warning also. This obedience has to be total, not partial. Partial obedience is no obedience at all. It's rather the mockery of obedience. You obey one order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and disobey the other. What does it mean? The command which you are obeying and complying with, it is because your nafs, has accepted it. And the command that you are rejecting and disobeying, why? Because your nafs doesn't agree to it. In both ways you are accepting and obeying your nafs, not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you are obeying Allah, then you have to obey all of His commands. And there is a very stern warning in the Quran. أَفَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْضِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْضٍ. Do you accept part of our book, our law, our sharia, and reject the other part? فَمَا جَزَاءُ مَنْ يَفْعَلُ ذَلِكَ مِنْكُمْ إِلَّا خِزْيٌ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. There can be no punishment for those who take to this attitude of accepting a part of the book of Allah, part of the sharia, rejecting the other part. إِلَّا خِزْيٌ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. Except that they should be put to extreme humiliation in this world. وَيَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ يُرَدُّونَ إِلَىٰ أَشَدِّ الْعَذَابِ. And on the day of judgment, they will be thrown in the worst of the punishments. وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not unawares of what you are doing. Don't think you can deceive Him. So the obedience has to be total. No partial obedience, please. This much about, the difference between Islam and Iman. Now we come to the eighth topic of our discussion on this Iman. And that is the relationship between Iman and Jihad. I am referring to the same two ayat of Surah Al-Hujurat. In ayah number 14, which we have now discussed fully, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes a clear distinction, differentiation between Muslim and Mu'min. Naturally, logically, there appears a question in the mind, and who is a true Mu'min? We want to be true Mu'mins. We want to be accepted true Mu'mins on the day of judgment. We should be told, who is a true Mu'min? What's the comprehensive definition of a Mu'min? So this is the logical sequence in Quran. The next ayah number 15, gives a comprehensive definition of who is a Mu'min. إنما المؤمنون الذين آمنوا بالله ورسوله ثم لم يرتابوا وجاهدوا بأموالهم وأنفسهم في سبيل الله. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الصَّادِقُونَ. A comprehensive definition of something should be which includes all the necessary parts of that thing or that concept and exclude everything else. This we call in mantiq, in logic, jami' and mani'. It should have it should collect all the necessary elements of that concept. But it should not let any foreign element come into it. Mani', mana yamna, to keep it away. So this ayah is the most comprehensive definition of who is a mu'min. That is why it is starting with innama. It is kalimatul hasr. What's the difference? When you say Zaid is a knowledgeable person, and you say Zaid is the only knowledgeable person, you know the difference? Zaid alim hai in Urdu, and Zaid he alim hai. This is hasr. In the first sentence, you say Zaid is alim, and others can be alim also. But now when you added the word he, you excluded any other person. None else is alim. So innama is hasr. Ulaika humus sadiqun. Only they are the truthful. Only they are true. If they claim that they are mu'min. Again hasr. The mu'mins are only those. And only they are the truthful. The ayah is ending and beginning with hasr. Innamal mu'minuna allazina amanu billahi wa rasulihi summa lam yartabu وَجَاهَدُوا بِأَمْوَالِهِمْ وَأَنفُسِهِمْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الصَّادِقُونَ. The true Mu'mins are only those who believe in Allah and His Messenger and then doubt not. This Iman has reached the level of conviction, free from all doubts. That is the real Iman within the heart, the conviction. And then the second necessary prerequisite, pre-qualification for a mu'min is وَجَاهَدُوا بِأَمْوَالِهِمْ وَأَنفُسِهِمْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. And then they made jihad for the cause of Allah, in the way of Allah, with their lives, bodies and belongings. What does it mean? Jihad fi sabilillah is a necessary condition, integral part of Iman. And let me say, no jihad, no Iman. No Iman, no jihad. It goes both ways. If there is real Iman, there will be jihad. And the only thing that can prove from the action side that the person has Iman, real Iman, is jihad. So these are the two necessary pillars of Iman. Now, let me give another example. I narrated the two ayat again from Surah As-Saf, number 10 and 11. या अय्युहल्लज़ीना आमनू हल अदुल्लुकुम अला तिजारतिन तुंजीकुम मिन अज़ाबिन अलीम. O you who believe, or O you who profess to believe, the legal Iman. The people who are being addressed are those who have legal Iman. They are Muslims. हल अदुल्लुकुम अला तिजारतिन तुंजीकुम मिन अज़ाबिन अलीम. Should I lead you, should I tell you the bargain which will save you from the severe punishment, the painful punishment, meaning thereby the punishment of hell, the fire of hell in the hereafter. Please again understand the question. It's a very natural way of education. Ask question, so that the minds are alive. They become attentive. The minds start working themselves. And then you give the reply. It's a very natural way of education. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu hal adullukum ala tijaratin tunjikum min azabin alim. Oh, who you profess to believe, should I lead you, should I tell you the bargain, the trade? A very simple word is used here, because you know in every trade, every business, you have two necessary elements: investment and work, labor. There can be no trade, no industry, nothing without these two necessary elements. And they will be reflected in the answer also. Should I lead you, should I tell you the trade or the bargain which will save you from the severe punishment? تُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. Have real faith. Now you have to add the word real, because people who were addressed were also Mu'mins. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. That proves who were addressed were the legal Mu'mins, the Muslims. And now they are being asked to have real faith, real Iman. تُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَتُجَاهِدُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ بِأَمْوَالِكُمْ وَأَنفُسِكُمْ. And you make jihad in the way of Allah, for the cause of Allah, with your money, your wealth, your belongings, and your own body, your nafs, your own lives. The same two things which are necessary for any worldly profession, worldly trade, worldly business. Capital, money, small or big. Then labor, work, the skilled labor, the unskilled labor. But these two things only can go to make some business, some bargain. You can earn something here. The same way, if you want to be saved from the punishment of the fire of hell in the hereafter, you have to invest your money, your wealth, your belongings, your bodily capabilities, your intelligence, your capability of working, and if there is necessary, even giving away your life for the cause of jihad fi sabilillah. ذَلِكُمْ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. This is better for you. At the face of it, it appears to be a bargain entailing loss. Why? You have to give away everything here, and the price you are going to get in the hereafter, not here. إِنَّ اللَّهَ اشْتَرَىٰ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَنفُسَهُمْ وَأَمْوَالَهُمْ بِأَنَّ لَهُمُ الْجَنَّةَ. Verily, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has purchased from all the moments their lives as well as their belongings in exchange for Jannah. And Jannah you will have in the hereafter, not here. And you have to spend everything here. Your energies, your time, your money, your capital, your belongings. And if there is need, even your life. But if you have the real knowledge, then you will know that this is good for you, this is profitable, this is beneficial. Now what's the inevitable logical conclusion? You cannot hope of salvation, you cannot hope to be spared from the fire of hell without jihad fi sabilillah. Such an important thing. To be very brief, what is jihad? Jihad means struggle for some cause against the obstacles and obstructions and the opposing forces. You have a cause before you. You want to accomplish it, proceed towards it, There are obstacles, hindrances, obstructions, opposing forces, resistance. To struggle against these obstructions, obstacles, against this resistance, against these opposing forces, this is jihad. Now, we are talking about the real Iman now, not the Iman, the verbal attestation we all have already. That we had due to our birth. We were born of Muslim parents, so we are Muslims. Now you visualize real Iman when it enters the heart of a person and is established there. Immediately a conflict and a confrontation starts within his own personality. What is it? Now in the heart you have Iman. What does it mean? You believe in the existence of Allah. You believe He is seeing you. You are in His eyes. You can't hide from Him. You believe you have to return to Him one day. You believe you will have to present your account of whatever you have done here. You believe there is going to be reward, either good reward or punishment. There will be no place to run away, no corner to hide, nothing of the sort, no power to protect. And then you know this is halal and this is haram. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I have accepted all His commands. وَقَبِلْتُ جَمِيعَ أَحْكَامِهِ آمنت باللہ کما ہوا بأسمائہ وصفاتہ وقبلت جمیع احکامہ. This is in the heart. And now from the lower levels of your existence and your personality, there are coming storms, cyclones, or what? In the words of Freud, the id and libido. In the words of Quran, the nafs ammara, inna nafsa la'amaratum bisu. The animal instincts. What are the basic animal instincts? Preservation of the self, preservation of the species. You need food. You have the sexual desire, the sexual urge. And all these animal instincts are blind. They don't know what is halal, what is haram. They want their sensual gratification, that's all. Satisfaction. We don't know what is halal, what is haram. This urge has to be satisfied. Then, added to these, there are the carnal desires and lusts. The sexual urge, in animals remains within certain limits. But in man, the limits to which it goes. Then the lust of wealth, the lust of power. In the words of Adler, the urge to dominate. These are the storms coming from the lower level of your existence. Because even Freud, he identified 3 levels of human personality. The id or libido, lowest. Then the ego, and then the superego. He is 100% correct about the id or libido. But he doesn't know about what is ego and what is superego. But I give him the credit that he identified 3 levels. This is a big achievement, no doubt. A person who is not seeing with the light of the Quran, even if he was able to observe these 3 levels, and he admitted there is conflict between them. Ego wants to suppress these desires and lusts. And these desires and lusts want their full satisfaction and gratification. So this is the conflict between evil and good within your own personality. I don't see what is happening within you, and you don't see what is happening within me. But each one of us knows it is going on all the time. This conflict, this confrontation is going on and on. As Ghalib said, ईमा मुझे रोके है तो खींचे है मुझे कुफ्र, काबा मेरे पीछे है कलीसा मेरे आगे. I'm being torn. My personality is being torn. Opposite pulls. There is the pull of the divine spark, of the Ruh Rabbani. It wants us to go higher and higher up, seek the proximity and pleasure of Allah. And this id and libido, the carnal desires, and you know, the animal instincts, they are pulling us down. So the first and the foremost jihad, as the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-mujahidu man jahada nafsahu. The real mujahid is he who can make jihad against his own nafs, control them. He was asked a question, direct question. Ayyul jihad afzalu ya Rasulullah. Which jihad is supreme, most important, afzal? The answer was, an tujahida nafsaka fi ta'atillah. Struggle against your id or libido, your animal instincts, your carnal desires, control them. As Quran says, amma man khafa maqama rabbihi wa nahan nafsa anil hawa. Whosoever fears, trembles at the very thought that he will have to stand before his Lord one day. He will be answerable, accountable. And then he pulls the reins of his nafs, his id and libido, controls it. I told you last evening, and I want to add one point to that. I told you, this real battle between evil and good is going on between the two levels of our own personality, within our own selves. Then you know, there are abetting and helping agencies or forces, and some of these are invisible, some are visible. Invisible, the shayateen jinn, they excite your instincts, your id, your libido. Excite them. There are the angels. They support you. Go ahead. Do good deeds. إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا وأبشروا بالجنة التي كنتم توعدون. Both these agencies, they are invisible. Malaika as well as the jinns. Shayatinul jinn, and then here are the Malaika. Then there are visible human callers to the wrong path, the callers to the right path. People calling you to go astray. They are the shayatinul ins. That is why, you know, in the last surah of the Quran, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ مَلِكِ النَّاسِ إِلَٰهِ النَّاسِ مِنْ شَرِّ الْوَسْوَاسِ الْخَنَّاسِ الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ مِنَ الْجِنَّةِ وَالنَّاسِ. The khannas and the shayateen, they are among the jinns also and among the men also. Then there are the callers who are calling you to the right path. The prophets, whosoever has taken upon himself the same mission that the prophets had. Al-ulama'u warasatul anbiya. But if they are real alims, not businessmen in knowledge, not dealers in knowledge, not professional, real alim, they are the warasatul anbiya. They are doing the same mission. So keep this in mind. Real evil, real force of evil is within you. Abetting it is the shayatunil jinn from the invisible side, and people who are calling you to go astray at the human level also, visible. The real good is within you. That is your nafs al-lawwama. That's your ruh al-malakuti. That's your ruh rabbani, wa nafakhtu fihi bil ruhi. And supporting it are the angels, the invisible ones. And again, among men you have people who support you, who help you, who show you the right path, who call you to the right path. Now coming to the jihad. After, this Iman entered the heart and was established there, this conflict within the personality started. But this doesn't end there. Now you have a society around you. It has its own norms, its own values, its own traditions, its own pressures. If this society is a reformed Islamic society, there is not going to be any conflict. But if this society is on the wrong path, it has wrong values, so there is a conflict between you and the society around you, even your own relatives, closest relatives. That is why Quran says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu inna min azwajikum wa awladikum aduwwan lakum fahzaruhum. This is ayah number 14 of Surah Al-Taghabun. O you who believe, be warned, be alert. From amongst your own wives and your own children, there are enemies for you. Because their natural love that you have in your heart, they can use that love, that instinct of yours, they can manipulate it as a lever to take you away from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's a red signal. Remember this ayah. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu inna min azwajikum wa awladikum aduwwan lakum fahzaruhum. There are enemies, hidden enemies. They think they love you and you love them. But there is a potential danger, beware of it. Then you have wrong ideologies, wrong philosophies, wrong aqaid. There must be a conflict. So jihad is going on. And last of all, over all politico-socio-economic system, if it is unjust, if it is repressive, if it is exploitative, if it is based on the principle of popular sovereignty, it means it is in revolt against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because sovereignty belongs to Him and Him alone. You have to fight it out. That would be the topmost level of jihad. So 4 jihads I have told you. Beginning from within your personality and going up to the overall politico-socio-economic system prevailing in the land where you dwell, where you are living. You have to make jihad against your own id or libido. Make jihad against the social pressures. Make jihad against the wrong ideologies, wrong philosophies, wrong notions, wrong dogmas. You have to make jihad against the wrong, exploitative, repressive, suppressive, discriminative social, political order, the politico-socio-economic system. So can there be a moment in the life of a mu'min without jihad? This jihad is going on all the time, every moment. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the real concept of Iman and the real concept of jihad, and may He give us the courage to make real jihad in our lives. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات. الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى خصوصا على أفضلهم وخاتم النبيين محمد الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى كما ورد في سورة الأنعام: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فأي الفريقين أحق بالأمن إن كنتم تعلمون الذين آمنوا ولم يلبسوا إيمانهم بظلم أولئك لهم الأمن وهم مهتدون. وقال عز وجل كما ورد في سورة يونس عليه الصلاة والسلام: ألا إن أولياء الله لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون الذين آمنوا وكانوا يتقون لهم البشرى في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة لا تبديل لكلمات الله ذلك هو الفوز العظيم. وقال جل وعلا كما ورد في آخر سورة الفجر: يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. صدق الله العظيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم ربنا ألهمنا رشدنا وأعذنا من شرور أنفسنا. اللهم نور قلوبنا بالإيمان واشرح صدورنا للإسلام ووفقنا لما تحب وترضى آمين يا رب العالمين. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Without any preliminary things, now we should proceed to the 9th topic in this discussion about Iman, and that is the relationship between Iman and Aman. On the very first day, I recited these 2 ayat of Surah Al-An'am. These are ayat number 81, 82. As in the previous session, I told you the most natural way of education and teaching is first ask a question. Let the people apply their own minds, use their own intellect, then give the answer. Here we have the same, just as Surah As-Saff. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu hal adullukum ala tijaratin tunjikum min azabin alim. The question. And then the answer. تؤمنون بالله ورسوله وتجاهدون في سبيل الله بأموالكم وأنفسكم. In the same way here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks a question: فَأَيُّ الْفَرِيقَيْنِ أَحَقُّ بِالْأَمْنِ إِن كُنتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. Who of the 2 groups, fariqain, 2 groups, أَيُّ الْفَرِيقَيْنِ, who of these 2 groups, أَحَقُّ بِالْأَمْنِ, have more right to Aman, to have Aman. What is Aman? Inner peace and tranquility. Who can have? And who are those 2 fariqain, 2 groups? In the preceding ayat, there is the discussion of Tawheed and Shirk. One group is the Muwahhideen, who believe in one Allah, the all-powerful, the omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent Allah. The other group is of Mushrikeen, who ascribe partners unto Allah. And I told you that, inshallah, our next discussion will be about shirk. What is shirk? What are the different types of shirk? But here the question is, who among these two groups, the Muwahhideen and the Mushrikeen, are entitled to Aman, to have Aman, inner peace and tranquility? The answer is, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَمْ يَلْبِسُوا إِيمَانَهُمْ بِظُلْمٍ. Only those who have real faith, real Iman, and then they don't pollute their Iman with any form of shirk. فَلَهُمُ الْأَمْنُ أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمُ الْأَمْنُ وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. Only they deserve Aman, inner peace. And they are the right guided people. They are on the right path. They will reach the destination. So actually I cited this ayah in the very beginning in the discussion about the literal meanings of Iman, that this word Iman is derived from Amn. And I quoted the prayer also of the Prophet ﷺ, which he used to pray on sighting the new moon. Allahumma ahillahu alayna bil amn wal iman was salamati wal islam. Amn and Iman bracketed together, because Amn is the basis of Iman. Amn is the essence of Iman. And Islam is based on Salama. Allahumma ahillahu alayna bil amn wal iman was salamati wal islam. Then I recited ayat 62, 63, 64 from Surah Yunus, alayhi salatu wassalam. Ala inna awliya Allah la khawfun alayhim wa la hum yahzanun. No, take it from us, that the awliya of Allah, they are the friends of Allah, true friends of Allah, they have no fear and no anxiety. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. And who are those awliya? They are not a different species. They are the same human beings who fulfill two conditions. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ. Who had the real Iman and they had the real taqwa. Lahumul bushra. For them are the glad tidings. Fil hayati dunya wa fil akhirah. In this worldly life also, and in the life hereafter also. La tabdila li kalimatillah. There can be no changing of the rules of Allah, the commands of Allah. These are the unchangeable, unalterable principles, rules laid down by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ذَلِكَ هُوَ الْفَوْزُ الْعَظِيمُ. And this is the biggest success. If you are free from fear and anxiety, fear, sorrow, grief, anxiety, if you are free from these things, then this is the biggest success. Then life, even in this world, becomes like the life in paradise. You will be living in this world, but actually you will be living in paradise. You will have no khawf, no fear, no huzn, no grief. Then I quoted 4 ayat from the last portion of Surah Al-Fajr. Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutmainnah. Oh, that nafs which is mutmain, itminan. Again, who is mutmain? The person who doesn't have any fear, no sorrows, no grief, no anxieties, no conflicts, no contradictions within him, mutmain. So at the time of death, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will address, Ya ayyatuha an-nafsul mutmainnah, irji'i ila rabbiki radiyatan mardiyah. Return to your Lord in the condition that you are pleased with him and he is pleased with you. Fadkhuli fi ibadi, now come and join my bondsmen who preceded you, who have come before you to me. Fadkhuli jannati, and enter my Jannah. What does it mean? There is a necessary relationship between Iman and Aman. Aman, or the internal peace or tranquility, is the necessary, inevitable fruit of real Iman. Now, how is it? We have to understand it logically. And I'll discuss this issue at 4 levels. First of all, as we discussed in the last session, as Iman enters in the heart of a person, a conflict starts. A battle going on, a continuous war between good and evil. But if Iman is so powerful that it overpowers the id or libido, conquers it, controls it permanently, then the conflict goes. The nafs surrenders. Now you have the inner peace. Now your inner personality is not a battlefield. You have controlled it, subdued it. That has surrendered. And this condition, this psychological condition of a person is called nafsul mutmainnah. Now you are mutmain, satisfied. And let me quote here the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Once he said, he told the Sahaba, there is one shaitan with every person, with every human being. Some of the Sahaba took the courage. It must have needed much of a courage, to ask a direct question to the Prophet. Do you have also a shaitan with you? We should be thankful to that Sahabi, He could have the courage to ask this question. If there was no question, there was no answer. We got the answer. Yes, I also do have a shaitan, but I have subdued him. He has surrendered. He no more perturbs me. So this is the condition. This is the nafsul mutmainnah. Inner struggle between evil and good, culminating in the final triumph of the good within you, that gives you the inner peace. Now come to the second level. And here, I have to refer to 4 corollaries of Iman. Iman billah. As I told you, real Iman is Iman billah. What are those 4 corollaries? They are very important. Number 1, nothing can happen without the permission of Allah. Ma asaba min musibatin illa bi iznillah. Even a leaf of a tree cannot move without His permission. He is all powerful, all controlling. Number 2, this is most important. This is the era of science. But please note, even the physical and chemical properties of material things and also the laws of chemical and physical change, although these properties have been given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to these elements, and all these laws of physical and chemical change have been framed and laid down by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But they are not autonomous. They are always under the control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No results can automatically come out without His express permission. This I will discuss inshallah in the discussion on shirk also. This thing was stated in a very beautiful way by Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani rahmatullahi alayhi. He said in his wasaya, his advice to his son, La fa'ila fil haqiqati wa la muassira illa Allah. There is no free agent in this universe. Nothing which can have any influence except with the permission of Allah. Don't think it is going automatically. Number 3, no good, nor for that matter any evil can befall you without the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ما صاب من مصيبة في الأرض ولا في أنفسكم إلا في كتاب من قبل أن نبراها إن ذلك على الله يسير. Nothing can happen. Nothing, no good, no evil can befall you without the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ما صاب من مصيبة إلا بإذن الله. And that is actually the essence of a part of our third kalima. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There is no power for any good, nor any power for anything bad, except with the permission of Allah. Number 4, you yourself can't do anything without the permission of Allah. Even though you might be having all the physical means necessary for that. All the means may be at your disposal, but all the resources may be with you, but no result will come out automatically except Allah, if Allah pleases. So don't have faith and tawakkul over material means and resources. Use them. You have to use them. But don't have faith on it. Your faith should be exclusively on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَا تَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ. By your wish, nothing can happen except if Allah also wishes. وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. And people who really believe should have their tawakkul, their faith, their confidence only on Allah. Now these 4 are the necessary corollaries of Iman Billah or Tawheed. What's the inevitable logical result? What's the inevitable logical conclusion? There is none to fear except Allah. There can be no hope, no help except from Allah. Is there any doubt? This is the essence of Tawheed. Now come to the third level. Here again there are 4 corollaries. Again of Iman Billah, again of Tawheed, Allah knows everything, you know nothing. Your knowledge is very limited. Is there any ratio proportion between the finite and the infinite? Can there be any? No. So actually your knowledge, which is very limited, is just equal to zero as compared to the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what is said in the Quran. Wallahu ya'lamu wa antum la ta'lamun. Allah knows, you don't know. Number 2. Allah's plans and designs are very long and very far stretched. You plan for days and months and weeks, maybe some years, maybe for about 20, 30, 40 years of your life, maybe about your sons and daughters. That's all. Allah's plans, very long, very far stretched. And you are so short-sighted. You can't see the real good in the plans of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 3. You feel and are influenced by the immediate pain and the immediate pleasure. And you can't comprehend what the ultimate result of this pain or pleasure is going to be. Only Allah knows. A mother is giving a bitter medicine to the child. What he or she thinks? She is very cruel. Asking me to swallow this bitter, medicine. But it is for the good of the child. The mother cannot be cruel. But what's the feeling of the child? Some surgeon is amputating the arm of a person. Is he the enemy of that patient? He is doing it for the good of the patient, for the benefit of the patient. So Allah's designs are very long. You are short-sighted. You feel only the immediate pain and the immediate pleasure. You don't comprehend the ultimate results which are coming. That is what is said in the Quran. Asa an takrahu shay'an wa huwa khairul lakum. Wa asa an tuhibbu shay'an wa huwa sharrul lakum. Wallahu ya'lamu wa antum la ta'lamun. Maybe you don't like something, and there is good for you in that thing, that very thing. And maybe you love something, not only like, you love something. And there is real evil in it for you, danger. It's the pleasure. Presently, momentarily, it's the pleasures. But maybe it is going to harm you. 4th and the final. The ultimate result of all that Allah is doing and will be doing is good, khair. Allah doesn't intend anything bad, does He? بِيَدِكَ الْخَيْرِ إِنَّكَ عَلَىٰ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. Oh Allah, in your hands, it's all khair, it's all good. And then you are all powerful. Nobody can compel you for something wrong. And you yourself cannot intend anything wrong. قُلِ اللَّهُمَّ مَالِكَ الْمُلْكِ تُؤْتِي الْمُلْكَ مَنْ تَشَاءُ وَتَنزِعُ الْمُلْكَ مِمَّنْ تَشَاءُ وَتُعِزُّ مَنْ تَشَاءُ وَتُذِلُّ مَنْ تَشَاءُ بِيَدِكَ الْخَيْرُ إِنَّكَ عَلَىٰ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. Now you join these 4 corollaries of Iman, and what is the inevitable conclusion? Where do you go? no sorrow and no grief on anything or any incident. Maybe something is good coming out of this incident. I am only seeing the outer side of it, the immediate effect of it. So now, fear gone, sorrow and grief gone. What remains? Is Aman. Ala inna awliya Allahi la khawfun alayhim wa la hum yahzanun. Fayyul fariqaini ahaqqu bil amn in kuntum ta'lamun. الذين آمنوا ولم يلبسوا إيمانهم بظلم أولئك لهم الأمن وهم مهتدون. Is it not logical? Is there any logical flaw? Absolutely logical. Just as 2 and 2 go to make 4. Now come to the 4th level. Everything is important, but from a special point of view, this is now the most important part. I told you the depth of the conviction, the intensity of the conviction. You have real faith, real Iman in your heart. That is a qualitative difference. Iman on the tip of the tongue, Iman in the heart. This is qualitatively different things. But now you have the Iman in your heart, the conviction. But the depth of this conviction can vary with various persons. It's not the same. The intensity of this conviction will vary from person to person. The depth and intensity of the conviction of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, can we imagine? Infinite depth, infinite intensity. But if we also are blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with some conviction, we have some quantity. Now when this depth and intensity of conviction of Iman billah reaches at a stage which has been expressed by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, كَأَنَّكَ تَرَاهُ فَإِن لَمْ تَكُنْ تَرَاهُ فَإِنَّهُ يَرَاكَ. It reaches the level as if you are seeing Allah with your own eyes. Now there can be no other expression for us. When we see some things with our own eyes, we say, now there is no doubt about it. There is no further level of your conviction. I have seen it with my own eyes. كَأَنَّكَ تَرَاهُ. When this Iman billah reaches that level, the depth and intensity of Iman billah reaches the level كَأَنَّكَ تَرَاهُ, just equal to the level of seeing for your own self, for your own eyes, by your own eyes. Or if not to that level, فَإِن لَمْ تَكُنْ تَرَاهُ فَإِنَّهُ يَرَاكَ. You can keep it, in your mind, that He is seeing me all the time. I am in His presence. فَإِنَّكَ بِأَعْيُنِنَا. You are in our eyes. We are looking at you. You are in our presence. If this conviction reaches this level, it is ihsan according to Quran and Hadith. But generally the term used is tasawwuf and wilayat, and these things. Wilayat is a good term. I'll come to that. But tasawwuf is not a Quranic term or a term of Hadith. And in tasawwuf, many things from east and west, extraneous and external sources have come and joined. But this is real ihsan. In a very important hadith, in a way the most important hadith, because it is called Sunnah. Just as Surah Al-Fatiha is called Quran, the very basis of Quran. The position that Surah Al-Fatiha has in the Quran, this hadith has in the whole collection of ahadith, Sunnah, that is called Hadith of Jibreel. It's a very long hadith, I can't give you the full text of it. But the essence is that Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salatu wassalam came to the Prophet's gathering. The Prophet was sitting sallallahu alayhi wasallam in the mosque with the Sahaba, and suddenly a stranger appeared whom nobody knew who he is. He was actually Jibreel in human form. He came very close to the Prophet and he asked 4 questions. Number 1, Akhbirni anil Islam. And we have now discussed what is Islam. The reply from the Prophet was, Al-Islam an tashhada an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan Rasulullah wa tuqima as-salata wa tu'ti az-zakata wa tasuma Ramazana wa tahujja al-bayta in istata'ta ilayhi sabila. Same. He said, correct. And the Sahaba were astonished. Who is? He is behaving as a teacher to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It's the practice of the teachers to ask a question from the pupil and then say, yes, yes, you are correct. Then the second question, Akhbirni anil Iman. Now tell me, what is Iman? The reply was, an tu'mina billahi wa malaikatihi wa kutubihi wa rusulihi wal yawmil akhiri wal qadri khairihi wa sharrihi min Allah ta'ala wal ba'si ba'da al-maut. He said, correct. Now the third question, Akhbirni anil ihsan. What is ihsan? Now this ihsan in Urdu means doing good to someone. In Arabic, it has 2 meanings. Doing good to someone else and doing whatever you are doing in the best of the way. You are doing some job, exert yourself to the utmost best of the ways. This is ihsan. To have the best of the religion, to have the best of Iman. This is ihsan. Islam, first level. Iman, second level. Ihsan, topmost. The answer was, Al-ihsanu an ta'bud Allah ka'annaka tarahu fa illam takun tarahu fa innahu yarak. When this Iman reaches in its intensity and depth, the level that you believe in Allah to the extent that as if you are seeing Him with your own eyes, or if not that level, at least you feel all the time that He is with you. This is ihsan. Now what is the result of this ihsan? This results in the establishment of a mutual friendship between man and Allah. This is called mu'alat. You are wali to each other, so there is mu'alat between you. Allahu waliyyul ladhina amanu yukhrijuhum min adh-dhulumati ila an-nur. Allah is the friend, helper, supporter of those who believe. يُخْرِجُهُمْ مِنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ. All the time He is taking them out from all shades of darkness unto light. And Allah inna awliya Allah la khawfun alayhim wa la hum yahzanun. Allah is wali for Ahle Iman. And those who have real Iman, they are wali of Allah. Allah inna awliya Allah la khawfun alayhim wa la hum yahzanun. When you reach that level, that intensity and that depth of Iman, you become a wali. I said in the last session also, wali is not a different species. The same Homo sapiens, the same human beings, having that depth and intensity of real Iman, they become wali. Now there is a bilateral relationship. You remember me, I will remember you. You keep me in mind, I'll keep you in my mind. You mention me, and I'll keep on mentioning you. Faskuruni azkurkum. You remember me, I'll remember you. And there's a hadith. These are the words of in the Quran. فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. There's a hadith. If some of the mu'mineen, some of my abd, some of my bondsmen, if he remembers me in his heart, I also remember him in my heart. And if he mentions me in some gathering, I mention him in a much better gathering. That gathering is of the al-malaikatul muqarrabun. I mention them in the majlis of the malaika. If my abd comes to me walking, I come to him running. If he comes towards me the breadth of one hand, I come to him the breadth of an arm. Qida shibrin. This is the mutual cooperation, mutual relationship, bilateral relationship. In tansurullah yansurkum. You help me, I will help you. You help my cause, I'll look after you. There is mutual love. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. Those who have real belief, real iman, real faith, they have the strongest love for Allah than for anything else. قُلْ إِنْ كَانَ آبَاؤُكُمْ وَأَبْنَاؤُكُمْ وَإِخْوَانُكُمْ وَأَزْوَاجُكُمْ وَعَشِيرَتُكُمْ وَأَمْوَالٌ اقْتَرَفْتُمُوهَا وَتِجَارَةٌ تَخْشَوْنَ كَسَادَهَا وَمَسَاكِنُ تَرْضَوْنَهَا أَحَبَّ إِلَيْكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَجِهَادٍ فِي سَبِيلِهِ فَتَرَبَّصُوا حَتَّىٰ يَأْتِيَ اللَّهُ بِأَمْرِهِ. If you love your parents more than me, if you love your progeny, your sons and daughters more than me, if you love your wives or wives' husbands more than me, if you love your relatives more than me, if you love the belongings, your property more than me, if you take care of your business more than taking care for my cause, if you love, wealth more than me and my messenger and my jihad in my cause, then go away. Wait till I decide your fate. فَتَرَبَّصُوا حَتَّىٰ يَأْتِيَ اللَّهُ بِأَمْرِهِ وَاللَّهُ لَا يَهْدِي الْقَوْمَ الْفَاسِقِينَ. Allah is not going to guide these fasiqeen. Then you are not mu'min, you are fasiq. Go away. So if you love Allah, well, Allah will love you. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُقْسِطِينَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الصَّادِقِينَ. So this is a mutual relationship, bilateral relationship. And now there are three corollaries of this. Faith in Allah means what? Whatever He has decided for me, or He will decide for me, will conclude in good for me in the long run. Although momentarily, instantly, presently, it might appear unpleasant to me. It might be hurting me. It might be painful. But what He has decided, my friend, my wali, He has decided it. So definitely some good is going to come out of it for me. Although presently it is painful, it is unpleasant, it is hurting. Number two, He knows all my requirements. He's all knowing. And He will take care of me. There's a hadith, the Prophet said, Man kana fi hajati akhihi kana Allahu fi hajatihi. Whosoever among Muslims is caring for the needs of another brother Muslim, Allah cares for his needs. Now you multiply it by 1,000. If you have devoted yourself wholly for the cause of Allah, will He not care for what you need? Will He not take care of you? Is it possible? And He knows what I need. Number 3, He is with me wherever I am, and He will help me. He will help me. He is my friend. I have faith in Him. Can a friend leave a friend in hour of need or help? Will he then be a true friend? If you can't leave your friend when he needs you, when he needs your help, will Allah betray you? Not at all. To give you the examples, imagine the moment when Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wassalam and all of Bani Israel, they were leaving Egypt, going to the Sinai Peninsula. Now in front came the sea, and behind they saw, the dust storm raised by the horses and the chariots of the army of Pharaoh. The companions of Moses said, "Inna lamudrakun." Well, we are caught. There is the ocean, and there is the enemy. We are caught in between. What was the reply? Kalla inna ma'i rabbi sayahdin. No. My Allah is with me. He will make way for me. That is the intensity of faith. What's the English muhavara? Leaving the friend in lurch? I suppose there is some sort of, proverb. Sure. So, Kalla inna ma'i rabbi sayahdin. And the same words were said by Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he and Hazrat Abu Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala were hiding in the cave of Thor, and the enemy had reached the mouth of the cave, and there was some anxiety expressed by Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu. What was the answer? La tahzan, inna allaha ma'ana. Oh Abu Bakr, don't be anxious, don't have any anxiety. Allah is with us. So there is final disappearance of fear and anxiety, if there is true Iman. And that is the relationship between Iman and Amal. Maybe you can call this is the Quranic psychology. The modern psychologist can't reach. They know only the psychology of animal side of man. The id and libido and nothing else. There they are correct. Their observations are correct. But the other aspect of human existence, the spiritual existence, they don't know. Now very short time remains, and I have to finish with the last and the 10th topic of this discussion. Where and how to get this real Iman? Where can it be heard from? Any market, any supermarket? Where it can be bought? Real question. But here please note 2 preliminary things. There is a way of getting it passively, and there are methods of getting it actively, by active endurance, exertion. Then Iman can be without an intellectual element. It will be Iman. All right. Usually you use the word blind with faith, blind faith. If you have faith, even if it is blind, but if it is strong enough, it will give you the results. Faith is faith, whether blind or having an intellectual insight. If the intensity and the depth of that faith is sufficient, your practical behavior, external manifestation of Iman will be there. But there is a higher level of Iman, an Iman with an intellectual dimension, having an intellectual insight into Iman. This is the highest level of Iman. And let me quote here. This is ayah number 108 of Surah Yusuf, alayhi salatu wassalam. The Prophet was commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to proclaim. Qul, proclaim, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Qul hazihi sabili ad'u ila Allahi ala basiratin ana wa man ittaba'ani. Proclaim, this is my path. I am calling you to Allah, but not groping in the darkness. Ala basiratin ana, with the clear insight. I am seeing it from my internal eyes. Not only me, also my companions. وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَنِي, whosoever is following me is not a blind follower. He is following me ala wajhil basira. This is the highest level of Iman. And mind you, this is the Iman that is needed today. The intellectual level of humanity has gone very high. Now the teenagers, their level of consciousness is more than the level of consciousness of the grown-ups of the past. There's an explosion of knowledge, and unless you can integrate this knowledge with faith, with Iman, your next generation is not going to keep it. They are not going to follow you blindly. That is the most important point. Faith is faith, whether blind, I accept it. Whosoever has it, his character will be transformed. He will be successful on the day of judgment. I don't say it's useless. No. Only what you need is the depth, the burning faith, the deep faith, the living faith. That should be the. But it's not necessary that you should have intellectual element also, the insight also, the hikmah also, the wisdom also. This hikmah, this wisdom, Quran says, وَمَنْ يُؤْتَ الْحِكْمَةَ فَقَدْ أُوتِيَ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. And this is the highest level of the education of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. هُوَ الَّذِي بَعَثَ فِي الْأُمِّيِّينَ رَسُولًا مِّنْهُمْ يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِهِ وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ. This is the specialization level of the teaching of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. مَنْ يُرِدِ اللَّهُ خَيْرًا يُفَقِّهُ فِي الدِّينِ. The Prophet said, for whomsoever Allah intends something good, He gives him an insight in the deen. Tafaqquh, the understanding, deep understanding, and the deep insight. So actually, that is the burning need of the day. Now please, there are three modes of getting Iman. Number one, the easiest way, keep company of those who have real faith. Be near them. Iman will flow from their personalities to yours, from their hearts to yours. There are invisible channels. Now you believe in ESP, extrasensory perception. And that is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in ayah number 119 of Surah At-Tawbah. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ittaqullaha wa kunu ma'as sadiqin. If you sit in front of a fire furnace, you get the warmth. If you are sitting near some block of ice, you are getting the coolness. If you are in the presence of a sahibul Iman, having real, burning, living, deep Iman, you will have Iman. But this is passive Iman. You are getting it passively. And number two, it will not have the intellectual element. The second mode, practicing. Practice Islam. Go on praying 5 times a day. Go on fasting. Not only the month of Ramadan, also have Nafil Sawm. 3 in every month, or 2 every week. Spend for the cause of Allah. Give it away in charity, in alms to the poor. There is a bilateral process. Iman results in good deeds, and good deeds also result in Iman. You know the word vicious circle? Vicious circle is something wrong and bad giving to some wrong result, then that result, bad result, adding to that something wrong, and goes on like a screw, progressing forward. Now you have a converse, circle. Have little Iman, practice it. You will have more Iman. Then you will have more practice. You will have more Iman. Then you will have more practice of Iman, Islam. So this is also, and actually, this has been said in Surah Al-Hujurat. The discussion on Islam and Iman, the most important part of the Quran is the last 5 ayat of Surah Al-Hujurat. And the last but one ayah, what does it say? يَمُنُّونَ عَلَيْكَ أَنْ أَسْلَمُوا. These peoples who are claiming to be Mu'mins are not Mu'mins, but only Muslims. But as I told you, not Munafiq also. But they are showing that they have done something good to you, O Muhammad, that they have become Mu'min or Muslim. Oh Muhammad, we have surrendered without fighting, so you must give us more from the sadaqat and zakat. Yamunnuna alayka. Manna yamunno. Do you have some moral right over the other? Yamunnuna alayka an aslamu. Qul la tamunnu alayya islamakum balillahu yamunnu alaykum an hadakum lil iman in kuntum sadiqin. Tell them, don't have this ihsan on me. Don't show that you have done me some ihsan, some good deed to me. But Allah says that He has done good to you. He has shown you the path to Iman. Hadakum lil Iman. You can reach Iman now through practice. In tuti'u Allah wa rasulahu la yalitkum min amalikum shay'a. If you continue obeying Allah and His Rasul, then you will be practicing, and this practice of Islam will give you real Iman. So that is the second mode of getting Iman. This also will be without any intellectual element. But it is active. You have to do something. You have to get it through action, through practice. While the first was passive. Be in the society. Be close to them. Be in the company of those who have real Iman. You will get it. It was passive and non-intellectual. It is active and also non-intellectual. But the last is how to get the real Iman, which is active as well as has the intellectual element. The only source is the Quran. Ponder over it. Think over it. Recite it. Hammer it into your own personality. Deeper and deeper. Because it gives you arguments. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَفَكَّرُونَ. Here Iman comes with intellectual element. If you understand it. If you are only reciting it without understanding, but that is the practice, that is the second mode. Here you have to have tadabbur on it. وَتَدَبَّرُوا فِيهِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. So this reality, a very big truth, was very plainly enunciated by Maulana Zafar Ali Khan in his beautiful couplet. वो जिन्स नहीं ईमान जिसे ले आए दुकाने फलसफा से, ढूंढे से मिलेगी आकिल को ये कुरान के सीपारों में. You need to be an aqil, to be an intellectual. You apply your intellect to the Quran. Then you have the topmost variety of Iman. And that is the active Iman with an intellectual element, with an insight, with the wisdom, with the tafaqquh. And that is, as I said, that is actually the need of the day. And the only source, mind you, the only source is Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, this is ayah number 9 of Surah Al-Hadid. هُوَ الَّذِي يُنَزِّلُ عَلَىٰ عَبْدِهِ آيَاتٍ بَيِّنَاتٍ لِيُخْرِجَكُم مِّنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ. It is He, that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is sending down His ayat bayyinat, His clear signs, the ayat of Quran, sending down them to His slave, to His bondsman, that is Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What for? So that He brings you out with the help of these ayat of Quran from all shades of darkness, from the kufr, from the shirk, from the ilhad, from materialism, from logical positivism, from agnosticism, from all these things, atheism. This Quran, ayat bayyinat, they will take you out gradually. يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور يخرجكم من الظلمات إلى النور هو الذي ينزل على عبده آيات بينات ليخرجكم من الظلمات إلى النور. Only these ayat bayyinat of the Quran can take you out from all shades of darkness into light of Iman. Real Iman, burning Iman, living Iman, deep Iman, intense Iman. And let me give another. This is the ayat of Surah Al-Taghabun, ayah 8. فَآمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَالنُّورِ الَّذِي أَنزَلْنَا. Have real faith in Allah and His Messenger and the light that we have sent down. This is light, this Quran. But there are two lights. One is this physical light with which we see the external world. This light of sun, maybe it is of sun or maybe it is of moon, maybe it is of electricity. This is physical light. And we cannot see without it. If the lights are put off, you will be there, I am here. But you will not be seeing me, I will not be seeing you. This is the